Once known as YouTube's most rebellious pranksters, the Nelk boys skyrocketed to fame with outrageous stunts, wild parties, and a carefree attitude that resonated with millions. Kyle Forjard, MTV Jesse, and Steve Will Do It built an empire on chaos, fake lottery tickets, liquor store pranks, Walmart pranks, and college campus antics made them internet legends. Their full send brand expanded into merchandise, alcohol, and even a podcast, turning them into multi-millionaire influencers. But as their fame grew, so did the controversies. Allegations of whether Nelk had lost touch with their roots, trading authenticity for corporate sponsorships and celebrity friendships. The group's dynamic changed, with original members leaving and the content becoming less about pranks and more about flexing wealth. The once unfiltered rebellious spirit of Nelk was fading, replaced by a calculated brand obsessed with money and influence. And then came their most decisive move yet, hosting Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on their podcast. The decision would spark outrage, alienate fans, and mark a new low in Nelk's slow decline. For years, Nelk's loyal fan base stuck with them through scandals. Fake gambling sponsorships, misleading promotions, and even accusations of exploiting their own audience. But the cracks were becoming too big to ignore. The departure of key members like Lucas and Jesse, who I thought were one of the best when they were first coming up, but it added to the sense that Nelk was no longer the same group. Their content shifted from doing pranks to repetitive vlogs filled with luxury cars, crazy parties, private jets, and celebrity name drops. Longtime subscribers complained that the channel had lost its edge, becoming just another influencer brand chasing trends instead of setting them. The Full Send podcast, once a platform for wild stories and good interviews, they just ended up turning into a series of awkward interviews with a lot of controversial figures. Then just a week ago, at the time of this recording, Nelk made a decision that would shock the world, even their most devoted followers, inviting Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel, one of the world's most polarizing politicians. The move wasn't just tone deaf, it was a betrayal to fans who saw Nelk as an escape from politics. The backlash was immediate, with accusations that the group was being used for propaganda. For many, this was the final straw. Proof that Nelk had fully sold out. When the episode dropped, the internet exploded. Netanyahu, a leader facing ongoing war crime allegations and mass protests in Israel, was given an uncritical platform to preach to the Nelk's young audience. Instead of hard-hitting questions, the interview was filled with softball prompts, allowing Netanyahu to spread his narrative unchallenged. Critics called it a blatant propaganda stunt, with some accusing Nelk of taking money for the interview, which I don't know is true yet. A claim that, obviously they're going to deny, but the damage was already done. Fans and outsiders alike were horrified, pointing out the hypocrisy of a channel built on an anti-establishment humor now platforming a controversial world leader. Even worse, their interview was painfully awkward. Netanyahu seemed out of place, and the Nelk host appeared unprepared, laughing nervously at inappropriate moments. When the episode dropped, the internet exploded. Netanyahu, a leader facing ongoing war crime allegations and mass protests in Israel, was given an uncritical platform to preach to Nelk's young audience. Instead of hard-hitting questions, the interview was filled with the softball prompts, allowing Netanyahu to spread his narrative unchallenged. Critics called it a blatant propaganda stunt, with some accusing Nelk of taking money for the interview, which I don't think is true, and they have also denied that, but the damage was already done. Fans and outsiders alike were horrified, pointing out the hypocrisy of a channel built on an anti-establishment humor now platforming a controversial world leader. Even worse, the interview was painfully awkward. Netanyahu seemed out of place, and the Nelk host appeared unprepared, laughing nervously at inappropriate moments. Comment sections were flooded with disgust, with many longtime subscribers declaring they were done with the channel. Media outlets even picked up the story, framing it as a desperate attempt for relevance for the Nelk boys. People from Israel even argued that Netanyahu blew his chance to connect with the young people on Nelk's audience by delivering the same tired talking points. But the real losers in all this is Nelk. Their credibility has been shattered, and their fan base was divided beyond repair. In the days following the Netanyahu interview, Nelk tried to act like nothing happened. They're just trying to brush it off. They're on quick live streaming every day. I think they had some before the Netanyahu interview, they were teasing it, but they're doing some golf stream. Now they're streaming on Kick full time. But it sucks. Now that their views stagnated, it makes sense why Netanyahu got the easy spot on their podcast. In the days following the Netanyahu interview, Nelk tried to act like nothing happened, continuing to stream and stand behind their decision. But the numbers told a different story. Comment sections were filled with anger, and former fans openly mocked their group's downfall. The podcast, once a growing part of their brand, now seemed like a liability. Other influencers and commentators piled on, calling Nelk sellouts and questioning their judgment. Even some group attempts at damage control. Half-hearted jokes and vague statements saying that they don't know how to podcast only make things worse. Meanwhile, Netanyahu's political team likely saw the interview as a win. They didn't get pressured, and that's probably why they did it in the first place. But for Nelk, the cost is irreversible. Their reputation, already shaking, is now in a freefall. The question isn't just whether they can recover, that's whether they even want to, with rumors of internal tension and burnout, even though they're streaming like crazy. What started as a group of friends making prank videos has become a cautionary tale about fame, money, and losing touch with your audience that made you big. The most painful part of Nelk's decline wasn't just the controversies. It was the betrayal felt by the fans who grew up watching them. For years, their audience saw them as the ultimate anti-heroes of YouTube, the guys who didn't play by the rules. But now, those same fans feel abandoned, sold out for corporate deals and political clout. Social media erupted with disappointment after the Netanyahu interview, with many longtime supporters calling it the final nail in the coffin. Comments like, "I used to watch these guys to escape politics, now they're part of the problem," flooded their posts. Others pointed out the irony. Nelk built their brand on sticking to the system, yet they gave a platform to a world leader accused of suppressing dissent. Even former diehards admitted they couldn't defend the group anymore, with some creating lengthy videos dissecting it where it all went wrong. The trust has been broken for a long time now. Memes are floating around with questions they were asking, like if Netanyahu like McDonald's or Burger King or some shit like that. But the most damning criticism is that they became exactly what they used to mock, another out-of-touch brand exploiting their audience. While some fans hold out hope for them to return to their pranks, the reality is clear. Nelk has changed, and so had the people who once loved them. But Nelk's story isn't unique. Countless influencers have risen, peaked, and faded when the pursuit of clout overshadowed authenticity. But their downfall feels especially stark because of how far they strayed from what made them special. They weren't just entertainers. They were rebels, the guys who didn't care about the rules. Now, they're just another brand entangled in controversy, struggling to stay relevant. The Netanyahu interview wasn't just the cause of their decline. It was the culmination of years of bad decisions. Whether Nelk can reinvent themselves remains to be seen. But one thing is clear. The fans who love them for their chaos won't be coming back. And maybe that's the real prank on themselves.